Chuck the lawyer says, quote, the Babylon Bee is now seemingly threatening Megyn Kelly with a pager attack. Mark Levin already started bunching her together with Tucker Carlson and Nick Fuentes, which, independent of your feelings about them, is politically insane. What are we to make of this civil war in conservative media? So the reference of the question is to this Babylon Bee cartoon that they posted last night and then quickly deleted. And there you see it, the Babylon Bee, which is run by people who are fanatically pro-Israel. Their targets these days, it used to be liberals and the left. It's really now sort of the conservative people who are opposed to Israel. And even though Megyn Kelly is not opposed to Israel, she's actually still quite a emphatic supporter of Israel. She's become grouped within the people who are not reliable supporters of Israel by virtue of her refusal to cut off ties with and deplatform people who criticize Israel, including Tucker Carlson, including myself, including Candace Owens. So she's now an enemy, not by virtue of her views on Israel, but by the fact that she won't ban and silence and disassociate herself from and cut off friendships over Israel. And as a result, she's now in the Babylon Bee's crosshairs, which really should at this point change its name to the Tel Aviv Bee, because most of what they do is about castigating people who are in some way critics of Israel. And they posted this last night. Megyn Kelly gets rid of old pager just to be safe. And there you see the image of the pager next to her face. And everyone understands what this means. The pager has become kind of Zionist shorthand for we're going to blow you up. It's this sick, perverted Zionist joke. Benjamin Netanyahu goes around the world giving out gold and silver pagers. Gave one to John Fetterman, gave one to Donald Trump. A few months ago, some conservative Israel fanatic was on CNN with Mehdi Hasan, debating Mehdi Hasan. I'll never forgive anybody who turns Mehdi Hasan into a sympathetic victim. But they were arguing about Israel, and the guy said, be careful that your pager doesn't go off. So this has become a way of threatening people or implying strongly that they're terrorist sympathizers and that they are legitimate targets. And the Babylon Bee deleted it. With all the Republican and right-wing discourse about how careful you have to be with your language, about blaming the left for using intemperate language when describing the right and people like Charlie Kirk, and therefore creating a climate where political violence is now acceptable. To have one of these right-wing organs so blatantly play with issues of political violence simply because now Megyn Kelly is their enemy because she won't cut off ties with everybody who criticizes Israel. It's hypocritical at best. I mean, that's like the mildest critique I could offer it, and I think it's pretty demented. It's clearly meant as some kind of a threat to put in Megyn Kelly's head, other people's heads. Hey, remember, Israel can kill people in the most ingenious ways. Now, that pager attack was disgustingly celebrated as some great progress of humanity. Even though, obviously, if you blow up pagers, thousands of them, throughout suburbs in Beirut, you're going to end up probably killing some Hezbollah operatives or maiming some, but huge numbers of people who aren't. And they're women and children who had their eyes blown off, who had the multiple fingers blown off, whose hands are completely maimed. Kids who died, they were around the pager. The pager was on the table where they were. So congratulations on such a great humanitarian achievement. It's like those guys who were IDF soldiers who got caught on video gang raping a Palestinian detainee. They're now celebrated as heroes. They go into rooms in Israel and people stand and cheer for them. Members of the Knesset went to the army base where they were detained when they got caught and demanded their release, celebrating gang rape and heralding gang rapists as heroes. That is a sick society. And people who think it's fun to use the pager as some sort of stand-in for a threat, like, oh, if you oppose Israel, we're going to blow you up. That too is sick. But I think the more important point is the way in which Megyn Kelly has somehow become grouped in with Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens and Marjorie Taylor Greene and even Nick Fuentes, and has become an enemy of the Israel lobby. This is so bizarre because I've known Megyn for a long time. I was the first guest on her show. I was just with her in San Antonio at her national stop in San Antonio. And I think she said during that show, and I'm sure it's true, or if it's not true, it's very close to being true, that I've been the guest who has most appeared on her show. So when I go on the show, I spend 2 hours on with her. We talk about everything. And I've gotten to know her personally as well. And Megyn and I vehemently disagree on Israel, and not just on Israel, but on Israel adjacent issues. We had a very robust debate on Mahmoud Khalil and the deportation of students who protested Israel. She, thinks Zoran Mandani is a jihadist. Megyn has still very traditional views when it comes to Israel and foreign policy and Muslims inside the United States and Israel criticism. She overwhelmingly agrees with the pro-Israel faction. But she's also somebody who doesn't want to be and can't be controlled. She won't be told what she can talk about, what kind of people she can talk to. And she will not cut off her friendships with Tucker, and she's talked about the same pressure when it comes to me, because we are critics of Israel, and she won't do that with Candace Owens, and she understands that there's huge numbers of young conservatives who have turned against Israel. And so you can't be somebody in conservative politics and media who decides you're just going to cut off everybody who criticizes Israel, since Israel criticism is now such a big part of conservative politics. On top of which, I think people really forget that just a couple of weeks before Charlie Kirk was assassinated, he was on Megyn Kelly's show, and both of them were talking about how infuriating it is that they're being called anti-Semites or being put on an Israel enemies list, even though both of them always have been and continue to be very pro-Israel. And for the crime of questioning a few parts of the Israel dogma, both of them were being vilified publicly and privately, called anti-Semites, being attacked. Demands were being made on them to not talk to people, to not question things. And they were both saying this is going to have the opposite effect. I'm not going to submit to your bullying. And by grouping Megyn in with these people to the point where the Babylon Bee is now using pager imagery for her, it shows the fanaticism behind this pro-Israel movement, the utter lack of tolerance or space to question this foreign government or our government's relation to it in any way. You're put on an enemies list for the slightest deviation. I mean, the duties of patriotism that Americans have to their own government pales in comparison to the duties imposed on us to have loyalty to this foreign government. And people are tired of it. People are waking up to it, and people have the courage now to object to it and not care if they're called anti-Semites for it, just like the left and liberals overused racism and misogyny and all those other accusations to vilify people and to bully people into questioning things and debating. People finally got tired of it. They overused those words. They lost their sting. Same with anti-Semitism. And the fact that they somehow managed to take Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk, arguably two of their most important media allies, and insist that they're actually enemies because they don't 100% of the time fully adhere to the demands imposed on them by the pro-Israel lobby about who they can talk to and who they can platform and what debates they can have and what they can question. It shows how much in panic this movement is. If you're a part of the pro-Israel lobby and Megyn Kelly and Charlie Kirk are your enemies, and you're going to declare Megyn Kelly your enemy and even put pagers next to her head, as the Tel Aviv Bee did here, because she insists on the right to continue to interview arguably the most influential person in conservative media, which is Tucker Carlson, or other people in conservative media who question our relationship with Israel, like Marjorie Taylor Greene or Candace Owens. Not only are you revealing yourselves to be extremely repellent fanatics and absolutists, you're going to end up alienating pretty much everybody except the most fervent loyalists to the Israel cause. And that is pretty much what's happening. And while it's disgusting to watch on the one hand, it's actually, for those of us who are very critical of Israel and want there to be a lot more space for people to criticize Israel, it's going to help for people's eyes to be opened even further about what has really been going on, what tactics have been employed to ensure that this issue remains taboo. It's collapsing, and once people open their eyes and see it, it can never be unseen. Thanks for watching this clip from System Update, our live show that airs every Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern exclusively on Rumble. You can catch the full nightly shows live or view the backlog of episodes for free on our Rumble page. You can also find full episodes the morning after they air across all major podcasting platforms, including Spotify and Apple. All the information you need is linked below. We hope to see you there.